Guys, welcome back to DeFi, Degens, Drip, and Farm for Poverty, where on this channel, our vision is to empower the impoverished by helping you find financial freedom through crypto assets. Please subscribe and leave a comment and a thumbs up. Hey guys, welcome back to DeFi, Degens, Drip, and Farm for Poverty. So today, a little investor mindset, crypto mindset for you. I was just doing a reflection today and I decided I'd bring this up with you guys. So how many crypto projects have you gotten in that have failed? Or how many failures have you seen since you've gotten into crypto? Counting rug pulls, scams, or just getting into a token late, pump and dumps, you name it. Probably if you've been in longer than a month, you've experienced at least a few. And that's why I want to bring this up, because it's not getting any better, but I have some insight that I'd like to share towards the middle and end of this video. So I was just looking up crypto hacks. So this would be not exactly a failure on your part, but definitely the project would have failed if you got in and it got hacked. There's been $1 billion in Q1 that has been hacked from various cryptos. And I think it's up to 600 some odd million for Q2 or something like that. It's crazy. So, and we've seen that even with Certic and audits and stuff like that in some projects, you can still be exploits and you get hacked. And you may have seen the new rug pull is the new exploit. So, or exploits is the new rug pull. So that would be chalked up as a failure or as a loss, because if you don't have the experience to DYOR and understand code, then you're just kind of hoping for the best. And yeah, not everybody's going to be, probably 99.9% of the people aren't going to be able to read the blockchain code and analyze Solidity contracts to know what's going to happen. And some of them aren't, public. Also, we've had the collapse of legitimate cryptocurrencies. That would be a fail for everyone involved. And yeah, some people called it, but plenty others did not. $40 billion plunged out of the Terra Luna ecosystem. And man, that was horrific. And that pretty much signaled the bear market. Right after that, everything else started tanking as well. Then recently you've had Celsius bankruptcy and Voyager bankruptcy from the Three Arrows Capital collapse. So that's other failures within the market that crypto investors for 2022 have had to face. But what I want to get at in this, especially if you faced any of these or anything similar, like any even smaller miners you may have been in, or apps, or dApps I should say, the question I want to pose is, how do you view this? So when this happens to you, a rug pull or a scam or an exploit, or you just get in and you don't ROI, how do you view that? Do you view it as a big epic failure? Or do you have the mindset, a growth mindset that is, of an investor, and how that can actually be a positive thing? And I'm going to share some insight from Kevin O'Leary. If you're not familiar with Kevin O'Leary, I think I've had a clip from him before. Mr. Wonderful, huge investor, big proponent for pushing stable coins to Capitol Hill in the US. So huge into crypto investing and understanding it as a software and technology. Remember, you always swim with the whales. So I just want you to hear from him how he views failures in the system, not just the cryptocurrency system, but in the traditional stocks market as well. And then we're going to kind of dive deeper into how to adopt this mindset of an investor or a growth mindset, and looking at failure as something different than what you may normally be triggered by it as.
The collapse of Voyager Digital this morning, even after FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried came in and bailed them out with an over $450 million loan, they're still filing for bankruptcy. And now individual investors in the platform and retail investors can't get their money out. Folks, Kevin O'Leary, I want to start with you. What's happening here? And then I want to hear from Wonderfi and maybe how things are different with you.
This is nothing new in the story of leverage. And so in every cycle, what happens is various actors, companies, take on more and more aggressive positions using leverage to goose returns, which is age-old. It works. It definitely works. Now, what you're going to find in this situation is many crypto operators, particularly lending platforms, have never operated it with such volatility before. So they were in the slow growth from Bitcoin, almost a decade ago, from $800 all the way to 60,000. And all along the way, some of them became really aggressive in using leverage, which is the traditional hedge fund model. Now, what happens, and this happens in equities, it happens in bonds, it happens in real estate, it happens in crypto. Crypto is the Johnny-come-lately new asset class with a whole lot of newbies in it. You're going to see a whole series of these actors get crushed to zero over the next few months in the contagion of leverage being caught offside with the lack of liquidity. Voyager is not that big a deal. It's kind of irrelevant in terms of, this is a diversified shareholder base. It's not FDIC insured in any way, so it's not putting any stress on the government systems in any way. All the shareholders should consider themselves educated, no different than when you go to Las Vegas, put it all on black, and it's red, you lose. That's exactly what's happened here. But the great news about this and why this is so good for the market and how this helps the crypto market is it educates the business models that aren't going to work. So it's like taking a big spatula from the sky and scraping all the crap out of the market. And it's going to happen very, very quickly. So anything that was built on a business model that is not going to work or can't sustain volatility is going to be gone. And it's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's going to leave the industry much.
So I just wanted to play that clip, and I wanted you to, hopefully you teased out some points that he mentioned. So he was saying that this is a good thing, and he used the word, it leaves the investors educated. Consider yourself educated. Great news, it educates the business models that aren't going to work. Educated was used multiple times in his description. Now this is billions of dollars that, affects the crypto market. And also affects obviously the people that got in, right? So this is why I want to bring to your attention. So how do you view, if you were one of these people and you have lost money in crypto, how do you view this? Do you view this as Mr. Wonderful here, Kevin O'Leary, is saying is something wonderful, as a good thing, as education, or are you looking at it negatively? And before I give you obviously the punchline, you kind of already know what it is, I want to show you one clip of machine learning and what AI does. So this is a clip of Google's DeepMind DeepQ learning how to play the old school game Atari Breakout. There's no audio on this, but basically I'm going to give some commentary over it. They tell the machine nothing more than the environment, basically, about the bricks, the paddle, and the ball. That's it. And it says the goal is, it doesn't even tell it about the ball, just tells it about the environment around it. It says the goal is just to maximize the score. So the machine knows nothing about how to move the paddle, what the ball is going to do, or anything like that. It just plugs in the environment of the game and says, hey, your goal is to maximize this score up here. So the machine goes back and forth trying to figure out what to do, what's happening, and it's learning, right? So this whole entire time, it's learning how the game works. And then it says after 2 hours of training, it now understands the concept of, hey, hit the ball with the paddle and, track it so that you don't have it fall in a little black pit at the bottom. And then it actually moves into learning a strategy, so to speak, of how to get better and maximize the score. Because remember, that was part of the learning. It said, hey, you need to figure out how to maximize the score. This is where the magic happens. It realized that digging a tunnel through the wall is the most effective technique to beat the game. So now it builds a strategy into this and just focuses on getting the ball up the left side. Here, as you can see, it's actually purposely trying to clear the bricks out on one side. And then there it goes. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because machines don't actually have failure baked in. There is no such thing. All they have in their coding is try this, and if that doesn't work, try something else. And you just keep trying until you get the desired output or outcome that you want. So there is no failure in machine coding. The program just continues to run and run, and if it hits a bug, then you run a debugging script to find out where that bug is. And if it's machine learning, AI, true AI on its own, it just tries to debug itself and kind of rewind and learn along the way. So obviously, what I'm getting at, the point of all this is that you need to have, not only in crypto, but in life in general, the mindset of the learner or the educator, like Kevin O'Leary said. Whenever you encounter a failure, look at it as success in progress. Or my favorite quote or acronym of fail is this one here: first attempt in learning, because it specifies the education part that is important about learning. So if you, just like the machine, tried multiple times to hit the ball in the beginning, it just counts that as a first attempt until it finally figures out what the trick is. And that's the point of crypto. So you probably, much like myself, have had numerous first attempts in learning at various platforms. Maybe your MetaMask got hacked, or you lost your seed phrase, who knows, all sorts of stuff. And that sucks. I'm not trying to downplay any of that. Anybody that's lost money in the market, that's definitely stressful, but you've learned something from that. And if you're still on this side of the dirt, you can apply that learning and do something better next time. So like my lessons learned is to always have a plan on any crypto or investment that I'm going to get in, and stick with that plan no matter what. Second is keep dry powder on the side available, because you don't know in crypto when the market is going to have a reversal. Nobody saw the Terra Luna collapse. They didn't see it coming at that time. There were definitely people who said that an algorithmic stablecoin wouldn't last, but nobody knew it was going to be in a matter of 5 days that, the 98% will go out, like in May of all things. Like, it came out of nowhere. So having dry powder on the side, and definitely most important, do your own research, and taking a page from Stunner Breezy's book, bring your sledgehammer. So especially if you're in DeFi, like, yes, DCAing is great, but if you find a project that you are extremely well versed in and educated on, and you believe in it, then, and it's at a good buying opportunity for sure, that's the other part, then I'm on the same boat as Stunner Breezy. Bring the sledgehammer, go big, and then take your profits. DCAing in, especially some miners and things of that nature, like, it may not work. You have no idea how long these projects are going to last, or what the case may be. With Drip, ecosystem, Animal Farm, all that, these are going through cycles, so at least now you have some education under your belt of how this will go. And right now, if you're looking at this video and you're not in, this is the time to bring your sledgehammer. Not financial advice, of course. I've been in this since February, and you watched my journey from the top of 130 down to now $5, sub $5. And yeah, that's because I brought the sledgehammer originally, but didn't educate myself enough on the platform to see what was being developed, how long it had been, and all this other stuff like that. So, and last but not least, don't diversify. That's just a personal thing for me. I think too many people get into way too many things. Like, I had spreadsheets on top of spreadsheets trying to keep track of every little project that jumped in during the DeFi summer and the seasons of DAOs and all this other crap. It's like, man, I couldn't even keep up. So now I'm just all in on Drip and Forex ecosystem. That's just me personally. So I have definitely learned a lot in these last couple of months, years in crypto, and constantly still learning to see what's going on out there and watching videos, stuff like that. So adopt the mindset of the educator or the learner, and look at failure as an opportunity versus a setback. That's just my personal take on it. So I hope you guys found that valuable. As always, if you did, like, subscribe, and lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.